Hey, AfterBuzzers and Oncers, we are back talking episode 15, season 7, Sisterhood. We've got the Guardian, and that Anna is the Guardian. Fate is making an appearance, and Jack might actually be our killer. We cannot wait to break it all down for you, so don't go away.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You guys should have seen them before.
She can't be me. Guys, we had to bring some candy in here because we've got Hansel and Gretel talking about it in this episode. Welcome back to another after show of Once Upon a Time, guys. We are so excited to talk about sisterhood in this episode. But before we do that, Steph Sabraw, what's going on?
What's up, you guys? This is such a good intro song. I am so ready to talk about this episode. I'm Steph Sabraw, you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Lanisha Fisher, what's going on?
This show definitely got me wanting some candy.
I know, when she had the lollipop, I'm thinking, I want some of this.
The lollipops and all those candy that fell on the floor, yes.
Right, and nothing brings it back like a little Aaron Carter with I Want Candy. Everybody remembers that Lizzie McGuire episode when he wanted to date Aaron Carter.
Ally knows every single word of this song, and she should have been on Disney
You should have been featured in that song. I'm so
love
serious.
These ladies so much. We are missing Carolina tonight, but she will be back next week. Again, I'm Ally Nasta, and I can't wait to dive right in. First of all, overall thoughts of the episode.
I got mixed emotions because, like, okay, it's like half of my mind was already, like, it stated one thing, and we'll get on that topic, but on the other hand, I'm kind of like, ooh, I'm kind of on this team now.
Right, Steph.
I loved this episode. I thought it was the episode we needed to piece together the rest of the season and kind of close out things, but it did it in a non-rushed way, it felt like.
Yeah.
And we got the answers that we've been looking for. I'm not gonna, like, bloat too much. Gloat maybe a little bit. Gloat too much. I was right on a few things that we'll get into. It was a crazy episode, and I really loved it.
I loved it so much, and I'm so excited that we find out who the Guardian is, which I clearly can't say the word guardian. I'm like, Guardian. I'm just nervous to say it because we finally found out who the actual one was, and we got a distinct answer, and we might have a hint to who this killer is. But let's just get right into it. Drizella was the main point of this episode, and we kind of saw her character come to a close, and we got justice for her. So how do you guys feel about kind of seeing, we'll go back to the front end of the story, but how do you guys feel that Drizella's character kind of got some peace of mind, and she got to end it not being killed off? We thought that maybe she would get sacrificed or something, but she didn't. She almost sacrificed her sister, but how are we feeling about this?
I was really going to be mad at her if she killed her sister. I was going to be real pissed off, but 100%. I'm glad eventually she didn't. A little bit of me was kind of like, well, did she really want to actually save her sister, or was she just afraid that she was going to lose?
True.
Because she was just going to lose either way.
Yeah. I'm very, you guys, I've been conflicted about Drizella this entire time, and it's hard for me to really believe her. I think that even we saw in this episode, she was really going to kill her sister and was like, if it's between you or me, like, she's so selfish. But I do like that I like the twist that she wasn't sacrificed, she wasn't killed, and hopefully this does mean a new beginning for her and her sister because their lives were unfairly uprooted. And that was not in her control, but she did cause this curse. I do love the whole plot line between her and Regina. I thought that was one of the strongest kind of characters together because they're similar, and the fact that it makes you really remember and takes you back to the first season where you're like, Regina really redeemed herself somehow. So there's hope.
Yeah, I like that too. I like how she was just like, let's just say, I get it. Yeah. I've been there. I've been in your shoes. I did my share of curses. I killed off some people. So I get it. Do I forgive you? Hold up, we ain't going that far yet, but I
believe
get it.
in you. I believe you can change.
Which is great because she was not having redeemable factors this episode because there was times where we're all screaming at the television wondering why she's doing this to her poor sister. Yeah. But can we also, did you guys remember that she was the younger sister? I didn't realize that Anna was older than her for
I
some
did
reason.
know that.
I forgot. I completely forgot that she's the younger sister.
It's because of the whole age thing.
Yeah, because now she's technically the older sister, which, like, how does that work? That's crazy.
That would be I
Oh,
couldn't look at my little sister now as my older sister. I was like, I used to be the boss of you.
Right.
Well, Leah told us age is just a number. So I think
I love how she quoted.
Right.
Drizella has obvious age, but she has a lot to learn from Anastasia, I feel like, because she has not done life well without her, and in these, I don't know how many years she's been living, but she's not been a good citizen so far.
No, and we kind of see that, and Drizella gets attacked at the beginning, more so beginning of this episode, and we kind of figure out that's the killer. But man, girl power, she fought that killer off.
Now, for all you scary movies, this is how you actually fight criminals. You get some pepper spray, and you kick them, you get your high heels, you get
Stilettos for the win again.
Yes.
Which I was thinking that was a tribute to her mom, because her mom said there's a lot more you can do with a stiletto heel.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
I was
so
thinking
true.
that's a great way to kind of tie into her mom's little kind of last words with her.
I didn't even think about that until you said it. That's so true.
Very Death Day vibes. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. This mask has been used before, of the witch killer, but in most recent film I think it was used in was Death Day, and it's the creepiest mask ever. Like, if someone was coming after me like with that mask on, I like to think I would fight, but a part of me thinks I would actually just collapse.
I mean, I don't know what I think I would freeze. Yeah, like I don't think I would be able to outrun it, because you know when you kind of get weak when you get nervous,
Yeah.
and you start being like, oh gosh, my limbs, they can't work. I don't know.
Do you have dreams like that?
Yes, where you
Really?
can't move. I have dreams where I can't speak. You know what I mean?
Do you grind?
I don't know.
I think mine. I literally grind
That's
at night, so like
horrible.
I'll have dreams where I can't speak.
Yeah, I have dreams where I can't speak, and so like I'm screaming at someone, and then they can't hear me.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's the worst.
The worst.
I just fall off the bed. I never had that. That's kind of claustrophobic.
Yeah, it's scary. But so basically, at least we see, I wanted to say that Drizella did an amazing girl power move, because she 100% attacked this man and ran. And that's where we see her kind of confide in Regina and say, he had a knife to my throat, like he was about to kill me. Which was very interesting, because for a second we did see the better side of Drizella, and we're saying, wow, she kind of, she had her brush with death. And you'd think that would 100% change her perspective on things. But she still wanted to put herself first after listening to Dr. Facilier show her the progression of where her life was going to end. And so what did you guys, because with Dr. Facilier, we find out that he apparently did this all for Regina. Do we believe that the cards that he showed to Drizella were intended for this big master plan for Regina?
Okay, see, this is where everything's all conflicting over here, okay? Because at first I was just like, he's such a creep. He's just, like, no. But a little bit of me was just like, that's kind of sweet. Even if there's like that hint, because I think of Rumplestiltskin when I think about that. Because some of the stuff he does was for Belle. And even though there was like still that slight bit of darkness, I do think that some stuff was for Regina. Because when he said, I just want to see that smile on your face. I was like,
that was fake.
That was, because I don't really know. We obviously can't trust him, and we've seen him manipulate people in the past, just like we saw Princess Tiana kind of get manipulated a little bit by him.
Right.
And I think it's really weird that we had that be the end of this story. It's not obviously the complete end, but have that be his intentions, because he showed her the card of her like surviving, not necessarily like the way that he explained the last card to Regina, I feel was different than the way that he showed Drizella. Am I making a mistake there?
No. I definitely do think that there's a whole nother intention, but like I was saying, like I think like parts of it was like, yes, I love you, Regina. Like I do think that's genuine, but he definitely has something up his sleeve to where there's a part 2.
I agree. I think that's exactly it. I think that his feelings towards Regina, I think that's a great point about the whole Rumple Belle thing. I think it is similar, and I think there is an actual connection there. And when he was talking to her, there was a moment where I'm like, dang, this is cute. I like this. But I don't think for a second he didn't grab another vial of magic or something. He's not done. That scene was not just for Regina. There's no way. Like, just like Rumple, nothing's ever was just for Belle. There was something he was getting to.
Something behind.
Yeah, so...
That's a great point. I just kind of want to talk about, too, the fact that he had a magic bean. Okay, if he has his magic bean, why couldn't he just get everybody out of there? Because if he were to get everybody back... That doesn't mean a curse would be broken. So does that mean Henry could technically live because they would get transported into a different world?
Well, that wasn't my thing. My thing was mainly with Drizella. Like, why did you not think of you and your sister both escaping in the first place?
Right. Well, I think it's because Dr. Facilier said that basically she had to kind of basically offer up somebody in order to get this bean to work.
But how did she, like, who changed her mind about it?
She needed magic, and she's the only one who possesses magic in this realm right now, so he needed her to do it. But that does bring up a good point where if they did all go, would it, like...
Because the curse technically wouldn't have been broken. They would have just left into a different dimension.
Yeah, but Henry would have left in a place with magic, and then he would have been poisoned again.
You think?
Yeah, because that's the whole point of him not being able to die, because there's no magic.
Right.
He was poisoned by magic. So
I don't know. It just is so confusing to me, because I feel as if when we saw a lot of the times them going to different realms in Storybrooke, things kind of would go away for them. Like, whenever they jumped to a different realm, things would kind of disappear, and then they would come back. But maybe not. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I'd love for you guys in the chat. We do have a live chat going if you're listening on the podcast, where on YouTube they can comment all their thoughts and feelings. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this, because I feel as if we are getting a lot of answers, and so I'm starting to try to put pieces together. And I did watch this episode twice, because I was like, I feel like I missed so much detail that I need to go back and make sure I can cover it all.
Yeah.
So much is going on. But
Davy Elmer did say this is a cool kind of point, an opposite of the whole gold Rumple idea that Facilier is a new Snape. Davy Elmer said that. So that could be interesting if he is like playing everyone and this is like maybe a redemption thing, or he does have an overall innocent type plan.
That would be interesting, because he always does. He does technically kind of want to help people, but in a very malicious way, because one person always ends up getting hurt, but the person that gets fixed gets fixed.
But he wants power. This is exactly why I compared him to the old Rumpelstiltskin. Because at the end of the day, I feel like that's all he wants.
That is such a great point. And let's not forget that we've got two people in this story that now want the dagger. Because Dr. Facilier wants the dagger, and so does Mother Gothel.
Yep.
So that is something that we can't forget, too. He's obviously doing this all because he wants that dagger, which leading into this whole dagger situation with Mother Gothel, with Drizella kind of having this complex between either saving herself or sacrificing her sister and her magic to get herself out of this world. We see a little flashback of Drizella in the Enchanted Forest with Mother Gothel and Gretel. Okay, so let's talk about this circle really quick. That circle, they only two witches. It was basically like they were on a competition, like a reality competition show, and two could only win. My whole question is, we see that Mother Gothel has these witches, right? And she only needed one or two more to fill that circle. But if she has all these people that are just lined up to help her, why does she need, two certain people? Does that make, I don't know. This whole circle thing, the Eighth Covenant, confuses me.
I think it's mainly like the fact she needed someone who's willing to, like, because remember she gave him the test of who's gonna kill who, which is, wow.
Hunger Games.
True. Very true.
And when it comes to sacrificing, you have to be pretty dark. And especially in that covenant, because she's been sacrificing a lot of people lately in all these episodes we've been seeing.
That's a great point, because obviously she would need to see their dark side and see who would team up and who would actually, if they were going to be friends for a second.
Yeah.
And then we see Gretel and Drizella both go at each other.
Yeah. And poor Drizella.
Yeah.
Because that's when I feel like we really saw like her innocent side. Like she didn't want to be a killer. She just wanted to cast a curse. And I'm like,
yeah. She just wants things, but doesn't necessarily. She's not like Mother Gothel and stuff where she's any means necessary. unnecessary type. I think she tries to go around it as much as she can. But this scene was just really cool. I never really know Mother Gothel's motives. Like, just to your point, it always confuses me, like, what she's doing, why the killing, why all of this up against each other stuff. But I loved Gretel's magic.
Oh, that was
with
amazing.
The candy. Yes.
That was so cool.
Obsessed with candy when I was little, and that would have been my dream, to be able to poof things into candy. Could you imagine? That'd be the best superpower of all time.
I was
never
eating
thought about
chocolate
it.
when I was like watching it. I was just like, man, this really makes me want to eat some candy.
Right. Well, let's talk about Gretel for a second, because I feel as if there was an actual reason as to why she was the friend that was shown up with Drusilla.
Totally.
Because the witch that, Hansel and Gretel, the witch in that story, is the one that got killed, or one of the ones that has gotten killed or sacrificed so far. So that has something huge to play with this whole Covenant story, because why would they wouldn't just show us Gretel and then have that witch be killed for no apparent reason.
Well, remember, they also showed us the killer.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that.
Oh, okay.
But we'll get into the killer. But I'm just saying that I feel like there's a weird way that they line that up for a specific reason, because we obviously need to know more about this witch and why she was one of the ones that got killed.
I think that's what I'm saying in the beginning when I said I really like this episode for reasons like that, where I like to see when you realize why things were happened in episodes before, like why that witch specifically was mentioned before, and then you bring the introduction of Hansel and Gretel, and then it makes sense. And I really appreciated that, like when they close loopholes in this show, because there's so many different things going on.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really purposeful, and I think we're definitely gonna talk about who I think her brother is and where I think he is, what he's doing. So I love that. And then I think that her death is a possible motive.
Wait, so Steph, where do you think that Hansel is?
I think, because she says Hansel now goes by a different name and his brain is kind of all messed up and he has all these different motives or whatever. So I think he is Jack.
Yes.
He's the witch killer.
Yes, and Jack also mentioned in the bar, he's like, not really much of a sweet guy.
Yes.
So that gave me a clue right there.
Great point,
Yes.
ladies. I 100% did not put that together, so thank you for closing that loop on me. That makes so much sense.
I was
like holding it. I was like, I knew Jack was the killer.
Well, we all knew that something was sketchy with him, but you know what kind of makes sense too is that, he's killing what he sees in his eyes to be the bad witches. Technically, these witches have done nothing but terrible things, and he probably just thinks that he's helping everybody out.
Yeah.
And if he went to go get Drusilla next, it's because he clearly knows that he's probably done something to Henry, and we all know in the real world that is Henry's friend, is Jack.
And this is where my head is getting a little mixed up. So is he awake, or is he like Alice, who's like a little off the pills and a little crazy? Or is he going along with this covenant idea? Like, I don't know. What is his curse?
That's a good question, because we don't know if he's doing these. What's his motive if he's not awake to do this? Unless maybe in the real world he's just a serial killer.
That's horrible.
Which would be horrible. But let's close up this Drusilla circle really quick, and then let's jump into Jack, because obviously we have so much to say about that. We see Drusilla go back in the real world, which I did think this was kind of a strange. I liked how they were closing circles, but at the same time, it was a strange way to throw this into the mix of Drusilla and Anna finding their way home. I just felt like it was kind of confusing, but it's because we were learning more about Mother Gothel. Did you guys find that confusing at all, though, when they jumped to showing that specific scene in order to get Drusilla home?
No, I feel like it actually came perfectly by, because she kept mentioning like Mother Gothel's after you, Mother Gothel's after you. So when she came in and finally found her, I felt like that was like the perfect timing, because you need a little snake in your ear in order to you do. That's how I thought of it. And she has such of that voice, the do it like type of thing.
That's true. Well, and then we see Drusilla and Anna kind of, Anna doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how her magic is working, and then she gets the dust to put her to sleep, and then she's able to wake up from it. And so we find out the big answer is that she is the guardian, And Rumple lets her go away.
Well,
That's the one that I figured out. I just
people
gotta say
in the
it.
chat,
Yes.
like Ivan Soto, to a few people have been saying they definitely do not think that she's the Guardian. They
Really?
think, some people think Alice and Tilly, aka Tilly, is the Guardian. Some people still think that Lucy is the Guardian. And when they say that, I'm like, I kind of did when I was watching it. I'm like, is this a little too easy? You know, like, why would Rumple give up the Guardian? Why would Facilier give up the Guardian? Like, why would... I feel like Mother Gothel was the only one who showed a little bit of a
push.
Yeah.
a push for it. So I think that, I don't know, like, maybe there was multiple Guardians like we thought in the beginning. Like, there's so many loopholes. We still haven't... The thing we know the least about, I feel like, is the actual curse. We don't know exactly what happened with the curse, so I do think that she might not be the Guardian.
That
Could be
make sense.
Tilly. I still don't think it's Lucy. Sorry, Carolina.
Yeah, you all know Carolina. If you haven't listened to us before, she is a huge proponent that Lucy is the Guardian.
I probably think if it's not Anna, it's Tilly.
Yeah.
I don't know, what's just so interesting is that we spent so much of the season trying to figure out, or like getting told that Anna is this like huge powerhouse of power. And we even, like, that's kind of why Drusilla wanted to kill her in the first place, or kind of figure out a way to get rid of her, because her mom wanted to protect her and bring her back to life. But she's this big powerhouse, but you're right, it was just like an easy write-off. Okay, they're just walking into the sunset together to live their happily ever after. But why is that the true ending for them? You know?
I think we might see them again.
I think so,
I really
too.
think that was a little bit too easy, and I thought at first I was like, maybe it's because they're trying to wrap up the season a little bit quickly. That's why they got off the hook, which still could be the case, but I don't think that it's that simple. It never really is that simple in Once Upon a Time, and I've always thought that the season opened with Alice, and I think it would close with Alice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a great point.
And I also agree with you, Steph. Like, maybe there is a possible multiple Guardians, and maybe we might see that final battle.
Well, also,
I want some blood
unite.
Also, let's not forget that Weaver, now that we're talking about Alice being a possibility to be the Guardian, let's not forget that Weaver and Alice were working together in the Wish Realm before that they met up with anybody.
Yeah,
They
we
were
still
working
haven't heard
together,
that
and
story
we don't,
yet.
Yeah, we don't know why they were working together. So that could be a great point, because there is, and you saw in Rumple's eye that there was definitely, or Weaver's eye, that there was something more going on in his brain when Regina was like, what's going on here?
He's like, I'm good.
So they definitely have some more storyline to progress, and there could be, that does make more sense in the grander scheme of things, because Weaver and Alice have had a quick connection from the start, and knowing, you know, they worked together to kind of solve certain crimes or whatever, and she was there for him, and she was the one to shoot him to wake him up. You know, they have more of a connection, so there's more to that storyline that we're definitely going to see, and maybe, you know, Anna was just a piece in that, and that's kind of what he needed in order for, like, whatever is going to happen next to kind of plan out.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she's so smart. I mean, people may think she's all loopy and crazy, but that girl is smart because she be knowing things.
She does. She knows so much that's going on, and then she started realizing people don't even know that she exists. So I don't know. It's so funny how this show can really make your mind go into a rabbit hole, no pun intended, a rabbit hole of just so many different theories and conspiracies of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, does anybody in the chat have anything to say about whether they think that Alice and Weaver kind of have more of a grander scheme of things, or
they haven't said anything necessarily about Alice and Weaver, but they are saying that episode 18, I believe, would be called The Guardian, which I did know that, and I totally like brushed that aside for a second. So that's a great point. Let's see who said that. But Kristen, thank you. And they're saying, and this is a good point from Ivan Soto, which I did make this connection in the show, that it obviously we now know that Jack, aka the witch killer, is awake. So we have another person awake in the realm who has been kind of twisting at people's heads, like letting Henry date Jacinda, like kind of planning things on his own. So the multiple motives is always what makes Once Upon a Time so interesting.
You're
to me.
right. Well, let's get into Jack then, because we have this whole situation where we've got Operation Bromance in effect, and we've got Henry, Jack,
cute.
and Hook hanging out together because Lucy made them all become in the same room, which this all kind of would make sense that Jack has so much more to the storyline, because I still am not going to give up on the fact that I saw him look at Jacinda that weird way in the Wish realm. That look had way more to offer than what we think.
You did keep saying that, and I was like, okay, I did see sort of a look, but maybe we're just overthinking it. But you were right, Ally. You were definitely right.
I agree. That shook me up a little bit. I was like, you're really gonna let another man do this? Like,
right. And there were times where I feel as if he constantly was in front of Jacinda and Henry in order to prove, like, the kiss and just them kind of being together. I feel like it was more outward than he probably would have liked. Yeah. And you're right. And he did have, I don't know, because now I'm thinking, wasn't there a time where he was talking with, oh my gosh, she just the mom.
Jacinda?
No, Drusilla's mom. Why am I blanking?
Oh, Rapunzel?
Rapunzel. So Rapunzel and him had, like, some sort of, they knew something about each other, right? Because we were kind of like, we thought that maybe Rapunzel was the one pushing him towards Jacinda. Remember?
No, yeah, she was. So that brings up a really good point that I was just thinking about, that we never really saw Ivy and him in the same room together. We barely see him in the same room with basically anyone except Jacinda and Henry, who we all know are the absolute most oblivious of this entire situation. So it makes sense that he feels like that's the people he can be with, but it makes me think that's what, like, the curse. What is who talked to who put their little things in the curse, what part it plays into what part. It's just crazy.
All the questions are all now popping up just about that storyline. I just want to know specifically what happened in that other Enchanted Forest. What happened in there to make this whole curse? And maybe I'll be more clear once I hear the backstory. But right now, I'm a little confused. Is he awake? Or is he what's going on?
Right. It is true.
He's awake.
He's awake?
100% he's awake.
Yeah.
He knows who the witches are in an alternate realm. He's awake.
Okay. But how is he awake? And why specifically did they choose, out of all people, for a curse, to have a witch killer awake? I'm just trying to figure that out.
That means that, because then he definitely has his own thing going on.
Yeah.
Because, man, see, we literally always think we have all these answers, and then we start going into it, and we get in our rabbit holes, and we're like, open up all these wounds.
And then it's frustrating because it's like the people that you want to be awake, it's like, wake up, Nook. Like, and And then the people that are awake, it's like, why are you even awake?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, we have to remember Ivy did create the curse. Ivan just re-pointed that out. So she somehow had to have been in contact with, and maybe, okay, this all makes sense now. I'm coming, the thoughts forming. Maybe she found out after she killed his sister, Gretel, and got in contact with him somehow. I don't know. Like, I feel like it makes sense that Gretel was introduced, he's introduced, and Ivy made the curse, and she also killed Gretel. So maybe it was like he knew that Ivy was planning this curse once he found out his sister died, and then got into it somehow. I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, maybe it was a plot to be Henry's friend.
But then also, we have, we have Mother Gothel that kind of makes Alice do all this craziness where it makes it look like she's the killer, right?
Right.
But then Mother Gothel probably knows exactly who the killer is, which would make sense because she can manipulate Jack to killing people because he has motive, because he knows Ivy killed his sister.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. And Mother Gothel in this episode gave Ivy the chocolate truffles. Where did she get the chocolate truffles? She always knows about the truffles.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know.
So I think that combines with what you were saying. I think Mother Gothel was low-key planning with him and being that, like I said, a little snake up in the ear.
Right. And then she obviously needs these witches to formulate some sort of prophecy of what she's been trying to get this whole time.
Right.
So she needs... And how many times has she tried to, like, kill Drusilla, but then people step in for her?
This is a crime scene!
It is!
I am having way too much fun to do with you guys. I'm a little trigger happy today.
Guys, we need to give a huge shout out to our engineer Jeff in the booth over here because he's doing an amazing job. Every week we have so much fun because of him.
Well, guys, it's easy to do a good show, and it's a great panel.
Aww, thanks, guys.
Look, that was our own sound effect.
That was, aww. But you know what's also fun and helps you learn and grow in all areas of your life? We have this perfect podcast for you, Conversations with Maria Menounos. Maria Menounos Podcast Edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of your life. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and so much more. Let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Guys, this is for free. So just be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that it was us, the Once Girls, that brought you there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, this is Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition. Go check it out. It's amazing. So much fun. You guys can listen to it in the car, with your headphones on, when you're shopping. It makes you feel like you've got your friends with you, so please do it.
With your candy.
Yeah, with your candy. Maria Menounos is amazing. She's awesome, and all the influencers that she brings on in the interviews are so inspiring. You guys should definitely go check it out. It's so much fun every week, every Friday on iTunes.
Yeah.
So
check
much
her out.
fun.
We need her. She's an actual good sister, unlike
Yes.
Drizella.
Who's a bad sister and almost sacrificed. She's like, I need to live. What kind of sister says that? I'm sorry, but I have to live. What?
If it's gonna be a choice, it's gonna be me.
While she's unconscious.
That is so harsh. That is beyond harsh. But okay. Well, I think that Jack theory is definitely a good one. And you guys are spinning my wheels right here, making me think about all the different scenarios that could possibly happen, which is insane to think that we're wrapping all of this up in just like a couple more episodes. And it's blowing my mind.
I know.
I think we have like about 8 or 7.
Something like
Or
that.
5.
'Cause I think
It's
there's
just, I'm really happy to see that there's progression with Jacinda and Henry
Yes!
a little bit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, can we talk about that for a second?
With Jacinda finally having a bulb
Light
up in it,
bulb.
yes.
Finally.
All right. So basically, we have Henry, Jack, and Nook all kind of be together, and they kind of form this random friendship over some beers and some games. But then, of course, who is it that walks through the door but Jacinda?
Of course.
I loved that.
Fate.
I actually wasn't expecting that. I'm like, who's it gonna be? Oh my god.
What do you mean?
I said, that's what I was saying. I was like, I hope it's not Drizella. I hope it's not no other girl.
I kind of had a feeling because they've been doing so much pushing towards them getting together. First of all, this kiss is not going to kill their relationship. They're not going to die after the kiss. I just know it. I have a feeling. And I thought it was really interesting that they kind of started bringing fate back into the situation. And they both continuously talk about fate and how maybe Lucy is right. So they're both having these big dings go off and light bulbs go off because they're thinking, wow, maybe she's not crazy after everything that's been going down.
Okay.
And I like that with Jacinda because I feel like she needed to do it herself, like to flip the coin herself, because I think with Jacinda, she's stuck because her kind of, I feel like, curse in this is that she's so reactive, like the most reactive character probably, and so subdued and kind of like, oh, wussy, when in her real realm, she's so cool and tough and goes after it. So for her to be the one to flip the coin, I think she needed to be like, hey, I have to take this into my own hands. Like, all I've been doing is sitting. She needed that.
I was so happy because the first time it would have made the cup. I was so pissed. I was just like, who moved that cup?
That was terrible. That's
Who
like,
was the hand?
That's like in beer pong when someone like pulls it away.
Yes.
Like,
It's like, you know I would have won.
You're like, you did it on purpose. Or with any game when you just like, you know it's going in and someone blocks it. It's just such a bummer. But I am so, probably that was a bad comparison that I just used.
No, that was perfect.
But it's so frustrating. But it is kind of, we saw the light bulb and we didn't see what happened after that. So do you guys think that maybe next episode she'd be awake? Like, do you think maybe by the end of next episode, do you think that Jacinda will be awake?
not awake necessarily, but I think she'll dig more into it. Like, maybe there is something going on. Like, kind of like how Henry was. He wasn't necessarily awake, but he was just kind of like curious to know more. So maybe she might now be like, well, let's go a little bit into this. There might be something around what Lucy is saying.
Right. I mean, they better. It's only been 15 episodes of this poor girl telling them that they're supposed to be together and that they are in love and there's this other world. I feel like if a kid was going this far in to telling me something, I would even start believing them just because I'm like, whoa, your imagination is so strong that I want to believe you because this is amazing. It's spectacular.
And I feel like, okay, we have a few people that we know now are awake.
Yeah.
But there's only 7 episodes left, so people have to start waking up. I think Jacinda has to be one of the next ones. I don't know if it'll be next episode. That's why I'm so excited to see the next episode, because I think things keep closing in a good way. So I'm just like really want her to wake up, because I think all hands need to be on deck to figure out how the heck they're gonna get Henry alive, Lucy alive, and just go back to living a happily ever after.
Which would be so, we need this. I mean, but like we've heard in articles, it's gonna be happy. Everybody said that. I've read articles where they were saying that the audience will be very happy with the way that we end things, which makes me so excited. It's such a bittersweet thing because I don't want the series to end, but I do want to see how it ends. So it's one of those things where I don't want it to happen, but I do at the same time.
Yes.
You know? But ladies, let's get into some predictions for next week or the rest of the season.
Ooh, yes.
Predictions. Alrighty, Steph, you started off.
Whew, okay, there's so... The way this season is going is stressing me out because we keep kind of hitting characters as opposed to like one continuous plot line, but they all add up in the same plot line, so it's hard to guess. But I think that we will see Dr. Facilier and Weaver kind of go head to head a little bit, try to figure out each other's motives, get a little more insight on that. And we didn't see as much of Regina in this episode, but I think she's going to be really pushing this investigation, trying to find clues, trying to figure out how to do it. And I think she's going to be the one. I think Alice and her, I don't know if separate or together. I want them to work together. I would love that to happen because I feel like Regina will believe her and give her some hope. And then figure out who the witch killer is together.
Most definitely. I totally agree with you. My prediction is for the finale, mainly. Only because we know, like, that Emma's coming back. We know that certain people are coming back. So I think, like what I was saying, there's going to be a whole list of guardians and savior powering up to battle, like, maybe it's like the Witch Covenant battles the guardians. I think it's going to be that type of battle.
That would be really interesting. I would like that. Man,
I think it'll be battle of the good witches and bad witches.
Right.
There we go. Good witches and bad witches.
Good versus evil, as it usually always is.
Yes, and definitely Drizella and Anna, I think, are going to come back at the end for the final battle.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, they need the whole cast of everybody to just come together.
Yes.
Full force. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking, I'm just so focused and fixated on the fact that people still need to wake up that it's really blocking my idea of predictions because I just don't know when that's going to happen. But I guess my only prediction is I think that Henry's going to be the last one to wake up.
Really?
I really think he's going to be the last one to wake up, and it's going to be everybody. Even Nook is going to be awake, and he's going to be, it's like, it's going to be Henry towards the end of the battle, and then he'll be like, I believe you guys, but I don't know what's happening. And then he's going to see his mom, and then it's going to, like, he'll see Emma Swan, and then he'll wake up, and then it'll, like, all come together, and I don't know.
That's
you wrapped
good.
it up well, but please, no, I can't stand him not knowing that long.
I know, but
me
I have a feeling that's
neither.
what's going to happen. Because they are going to want to keep, they're all going to want to protect him because they know that if I have a feeling that if they know that, if Henry knows that he would have to, if he dies and it kind of sacrifices himself for everybody and the curse could go away, he would do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that everybody would try to protect him to try to figure out a solution before he finds out. So I think they're going to try to do everything in their power to find out what that solution is to saving him before he finds out about this curse. Or else he'll try to sacrifice himself for everybody and be able to get rid of the curse just so everybody else can have a happily ever after.
Yeah. And I love your predictions too, because I do think what you said about Emma, because that happened with Nook too. When he saw the picture of Emma in the book, and a little bit of him like came back, just a little bit, even though he's still lost, but a little bit of him was just like, something's curious about this. So I do think that is a possibility of Henry waking up.
Yeah. Which also kind of leads me to something else that I'm thinking right now is the fact that how's it going to work if Nook and Hook are in the same vicinity? Because obviously Nook can't just go away because we have Alice. He's a dad.
We love Nook.
Yeah,
now.
I know. We do love Nook now.
But they did it
And
before.
2 of them
That's
is okay
true.
with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I love the more hooks, the better. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I love you guys, and I love this show, and I don't want it to ever end. I think we kind of captured everything this episode. Was there any last thoughts that you guys wanted to chat about before we go into some news and gossip?
No, I think we
for
really
me.
captured everything.
Yeah, I think that the only thing is we've talked about this a little bit. I think my last words about Dr. Facilier is not really sure what his motive is, but I can't tell if he's good or bad because I think he does actually like Regina, but I don't think that's who she's ending up with.
And I don't know
One
if I'm
quick
Team
note,
Voodoo
though.
Queen.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Nook does need to wake up. He
Yeah.
was one of the first, we forget this, in the first few episodes of the season, he was catching on to this by far the quickest. He knew what the coven kind of was. He knew something weird was going on. He has his daughter right in front of his face. He has all the people awake are the ones he spends the most time with. He needs to wake up.
Well, and what's frustrating is the fact that he has been like, this is weird. Why would there be a cult? Like, he's been the one questioning and, like, making things kind of crazy before. He's not just like, oh, okay, I'll believe there's a cult in the town that wants to kill people and take cuts, like, locks of
He
their hair.
asked questions.
Yeah, weird. Okay. But anyways, let's get into some news and gossip. We have a little bit.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Guys, I know this isn't really that much new news, but we didn't get to talk about it last week, is the fact that we have Prince and Snow and Emma Swan coming back, and Emma Swan actually just wrapped her last days of shooting, which was really bittersweet. And I've just been looking on Instagram, and she's been posting pictures of, like Swan's back, but also I think I saw something of her parents sent her like some flowers or something for her last days of shooting, which is kind of crazy to think. They were on this show for 6 seasons together, and I really do appreciate that they're coming back for one last episode to kind of give us oncers a closed circle. That really just warms our heart and just knows how amazing of actors they are and how much that this show means to them as well as it means to us. So I think that's really exciting.
Most definitely.
And I think it's really cool with this cast that I feel like they have a real connection to the Oncers.
Of course.
Like, Mother Gothel, if you follow her Instagram, which you absolutely should, she just posted a video of all her fans kind of posting to her and telling her how special she is, and she, like, loved it. Like, she loves the Oncers, and I think there's this whole family that they formed.
is,
Even her in one season.
Right. It's crazy. Our Oncers out there, we love you, and we love being a part of this amazing fandom. Really quick, do you have a fan shout out for this episode? Someone in the live chat, that stuff you would like to shout out?
Honestly, Ivan Soto always kills it. Kristen Collins has been giving some fire comments as well. Billie Jean Girl, I just really love you.
Yeah.
You
almost
are
a
amazing,
title.
and I've Billie Jean Girl. You were in Shadowhunters as well, and I appreciate that. She joined us on
Davey Elmer.
Yeah, but all of you guys in the
Perfect.
live chat, we appreciate you every week. But we've got to go. We got to wrap things up. We
Tweet us,
appreciate it.
though.
Yeah, tweet us. Make sure you comment and make sure you are giving us your predictions because we don't want to know. Steph, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw. Make sure you guys message us some gifts and stuff. We love that.
Yes, Lanisha.
What's up, you guys? You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lanisha, spelled Lanisha 914.
Hey guys, Ally Nasta here. Find me on Twitter at Ally Nasta and on Instagram at Ally Girl. And of course, follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. We will see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only, do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.